Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. We're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, right now. So welcome to everybody watching us on our social media platforms. Welcome to the African History Network show. It's Thursday, November 12th, 2020, and we are live. Call-in numbers 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. And yesterday we had a great show. We dealt with the origins of Veterans Day, and we talked some about African-American World War I veterans. And we're going to continue a little bit in that theme. And later on in the show, we'll deal with the origin of the DAP handshake, the origin and evolution of the DAP. I've talked about this over the past few years. It's a very, very interesting history. And the DAP handshake has its roots with African-American GIs in the Vietnam War. All right, if you'd like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network show, $, the AHN show through Cash App, $, the AHN show through Cash App, and also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show, paypal.me/the AHN show. All right, and I'll be on Roland Martin Unfiltered again on Friday, November 13th. So tomorrow, since tomorrow is Friday the 13th, then I guess on tomorrow's show we'll deal with the history of Friday the 13th and why people think it's an unlucky number. And we'll deal with frigatriskaidekaphobia. Frigatriskaidekaphobia is the fear of the number 13. We'll talk about frigatriskaidekaphobia. And we'll talk about triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidekaphobia is an unfounded fear of the number 13. And we'll deal with why 13 is an unlucky number. And we'll talk about the Knights Templar and the Moors, the African Moors and things like this. It's a deep, deep history. So that's Friday's show. All right. So when we let's do a news roundup segment. When we look at coronavirus, so we saw that today is the 9th straight day of 100,000 new coronavirus cases or more. 100,000 new coronavirus cases or more. We see for November 12th, we have 152,391 new cases, as reported by the Washington Post, and 66,606 people are currently hospitalized all across the country. Okay, 66,606 people are currently hospitalized all across the country. That is a record. We're going to get to the point very soon where the hospitals are going to be overran. People are playing games, going to parties, going to Halloween parties. You have get-togethers, things like this. Thanksgiving is coming. You're going to have people who are not going to follow CDC guidelines. They're going to have family members over. And if coronavirus is this bad before Thanksgiving, what do you think is going to happen after Thanksgiving? Okay. So we see with each passing day, the coronavirus crisis across the country is getting worse. There were at least 1,893 COVID-19 deaths nationwide on Wednesday, November 11th, Wednesday, November 11th, at least 1,893 COVID deaths, the highest daily toll since May, according to Johns Hopkins University. Now, the U.S. also hit a single day record on Wednesday with at least 144,305 new cases. Okay. And it was Wednesday was the 9th straight day that cases rose above 100,000, but Wednesday's record was broken by Thursday's record, 152,391 new cases. Now you have leading doctors, Dr. Anthony Fauci and others, they're saying we're going to get to the point where we're going to have 200,000 new cases a day. We're going to get to the point where we're going to have 200,000 new cases a day. And by inauguration, estimates are that we will be at, what did they say? 60,000 additional deaths, possibly. But by the end of this year, between the end of this year and inauguration, we could, at the pace we're going at, we could very well be at 20 million cases. We're at 10.4 million now. Okay. In 10 days, we've gone from 9 million cases to 10 million cases in 10 days. Added 1 million cases over the course of 10 days. Now, hospitalizations are also hitting new records by the day, with more than so Wednesday, when we look at Wednesday's numbers, more than 65,000 patients currently receiving care, according to the COVID tracking project. When we look at the updated information tonight from Washington Post, we see 66,606 people currently being hospitalized. With the crisis exploding out of control, cities and states coast to coast are instituting new restrictions and rolling back reopenings in an attempt to stop the spread. And we're going to see that here in Michigan, I think some changes are going to come. I mean, really here in Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer really needs to restrict restaurants. To me, restaurants really should be carry out only to slow this thing down. People really are not taking this seriously. So we'll give an update after the break. We'll give an update quickly on what's going on here in Michigan also. We'll look at the updates on WXYZ Channel 7 here in Detroit, because we see that a record number of COVID-19 cases was set in Michigan for Thursday. An additional 6,940 cases reported in Michigan, a single day total record. All right. This is not going away. It's getting worse. Also, speaking of getting worse, we see with Donald Trump, he can't protect the people around him. Corey Lewandowski, the former Trump campaign manager, who has taken part in Trump's pre-election legal challenges, has tested positive for COVID-19 also. All right. So, well, you know, you lay down with dogs, you get fleas. So what'd you think was going to happen? We see that in Atlanta, in Georgia, there's going to be a recount by hand, 5 million votes. It's not going to change the outcome. Donald Trump is still going to lose Florida, still lose Georgia. And I'm looking at these updates here. Okay. I want to go to, I want to look at the updates from the Washington Post and look at this article quickly that they posted this evening here. In Chicago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot did an address today to talk about how bad the situation is with coronavirus in Chicago. We shared that broadcast on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. Shutdowns possible in Illinois, Maryland, Washington State, as governors weigh more restrictions. The governors for Illinois, Maryland, and Washington said Thursday that they have not ruled out ramping up restrictions or enforcement, even if that means forcing businesses to close to reduce the spread of the virus. Okay, because we're seeing this spread we're seeing increases all across the country of coronavirus. Now, Illinois and Maryland topped their record highs on Thursday for their 7-day averages of new cases, while the state of Washington had not yet reported its daily total. Now, on the same day, Illinois tallied its most reported coronavirus infections in a day, 12,702 cases. Governor J.B. Pritzker, Democrat, said it was, quote, certainly likely, if the numbers continue going in the wrong direction, that we may take more stringent action, including another statewide shutdown. He said, right now, that seems where we are headed. He said of the possibility of a stay-at-home order being issued in the next 30 days. Now, Governor Pritzker praised Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot for issuing an advisory on Thursday, November 12th, encouraging residents to stay home if possible. And he admonished other local officials in Illinois who were not enforcing rules or were pushing baseless claims. In the state of Maryland, where 1,477 new cases were reported. Governor Larry Hogan, who's a Republican, was asked about the possibility of a second shutdown. He said that while the state never fully locked down during the beginning of the pandemic, all options were being considered during this recent nationwide surge. Now, while you have all this going on and coronavirus is surging across the country, Donald Trump is basically missing in action. He's basically missing in action. No guidance from him. Oh, he's tweeting, but it's not. He's not He's not exhibiting leadership in handling this crisis because he lacks leadership. Okay, this is an example of how elections have consequences. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, everybody. Let me reconnect to the station. How's everybody doing? Stand by. Everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Yeah, this is Michael calling back. Can you hear me? All right. And I got to send you this other. Let me see. Did I send this to you? Did I send you the clip from Roland Martin? Okay. You got the one from Roland Martin. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go to the Bob Johnson next. So cue that one up, okay? The one Bob Johnson from Roland Martin. The second clip. You got the second clip? It says start at the 14. Yeah. Cue that one up, please. Thank you. Stand by, everybody. All right, we're back from break in about 30 seconds. Everybody share this broadcast on social media platforms. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Thursday, November 12th, 2020. We are live. Hope everybody's doing well. Right before the break, we were giving you an update on what's going on with coronavirus. As I said, it's getting worse. It is not getting better. And we see that basically Donald Trump is missing in action. Also, when it comes to exhibiting leadership, when it comes to coronavirus and navigating throughout this global pandemic and how it's impacting the U.S. Okay, so we're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. Also on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. If you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. All right, and I will be on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, so Friday the 13th. So you'll hear more about that also. All right, I want to go back to right before the break. We'll give an update on what's going on with coronavirus. We're going to talk a little bit about Detroit, and then I want to get to the story about Bob Johnson. Very, very interesting story that came out, I think it was November 6th or November 7th, with dealing with Bob Johnson, founder of BET. All right, so we were talking about Maryland and the state of Maryland and Illinois and Washington State. And how they are handling coronavirus. Governor in the state of Maryland, where 1,477 new cases were reported, Governor Larry Hogan, Republican, was asked about the possibility of a second shutdown. He said that while the state never fully locked down during the beginning of the pandemic, all options were being considered during this recent nationwide surge. Okay. Washington Governor Jay Inslee, Democrat, said he was strongly considering additional shutdowns and would be making an announcement on Monday. State officials are monitoring coronavirus infections and hospitalization rates as numbers rise to concerning levels, sparking some to warn the shutdowns may loom. Okay. So check out the updates from Washington Post. They have some really good live updates, and they make them free. Also, most of the updates dealing with coronavirus from the Washington Post are free. Some of this other content, you have to have a subscription. All right. And then we see, because of what's taking place with coronavirus, it's setting records day after day, 9 straight days of over 100,000 new cases. We see this had a negative impact on the stock market. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is an average of 30 stocks, 30 corporations, Dow falls more than 300 points as virus rages. Stocks dropped sharply Thursday, eating into the gains from earlier in the week as investors recoiled from record-breaking coronavirus infections and remarks from the chair of the Federal Reserve, who expressed uncertainty about the economic outlook, even as a potential vaccine appeared on the horizon. Okay. And we also saw that she had over 700,000 new filings for unemployment insurance as well. That was reported today from the Labor Department. All right. Now, Washington Post had a big article this evening, November 12th. At dinner parties and game nights, casual American life is fueling the coronavirus surge as daily cases exceed 150,000. This is the name of it. We'll post a link here. I want everybody to read this. Okay. Hashtag wear mask. Hashtag keep your behind at home. Don't go to parties. Don't go to people's house for Thanksgiving. These are going to be little small super spreader events, because what they're seeing now is this spread of coronavirus is largely fueled by small get-togethers like Halloween parties, people getting together, the drinking and all different types of things like this. All right. At dinner parties and game nights, casual American life is fueling the coronavirus surge as daily cases exceed 150,000. So the White House Coronavirus Task Force has been urging states that are virus hotspots to curtail maskless get-togethers of family and friends, saying in reports that asymptomatic attendees, quote, cause ongoing transmission. Asymptomatic attendees, meaning you don't have symptoms, but you're infected with the virus and you can infect other people. Asymptomatic attendees, quote, cause ongoing transmission, frequently infecting multiple people in a single gathering. Frequently infecting multiple people in a single gathering. On Thursday, November 12th, the U.S. passed another grim milestone in the pandemic, setting records for cases and hospitalizations with 152,391 new cases. This is a record for the U.S. for daily cases, 152,391. We're going to be hitting 200,000 cases a day pretty soon if this does not change. And 66,606 people currently hospitalized. In Chicago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot said that starting Monday, residents should leave home only to go to work or school, or for essential needs such as seeking medical care or getting groceries. This week in New York, in the state of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo announced a 10-person limit on gatherings in private homes. calling them a great spreader, a great spreader. Similar restrictions have been imposed in states including Ohio, Utah, Connecticut, Colorado, where one recent cluster involved 7 people infected while playing the dice game Bunco, okay, Bunco, and Rhode Island, whose governor has pledged to fine, Fine, fine violators. Oregon last week announced a pause in hard-hit counties on most groups larger than 6 people. Okay, so check. We'll post a link here to this article. I printed it out. It's about 4 pages. Check out the rest of this article here. They're talking about what's going on across the country and why coronavirus is spreading so much. And a lot of this has to do with dinner parties, game nights that people are holding in their home. Now, Donald Trump's super spreader events that he's had at the White House and these rallies, that played a little part, but this is taking place across the country. People are doing this in their home and it's spreading coronavirus. And this stuff has to stop. You can't do this. This thing is getting out of control. And you have somebody incompetent in the White House. All right, now, when we look here at Detroit, and then we're going to get to Bob Johnson, Governor Whitmer says we could hit our daily peak of COVID-19 deaths in Michigan by Christmas. Okay. Check this out from WXYZ Channel 7. During a press conference Thursday afternoon, November 12th, Governor Whitmer reminded people across the state of the collective effort from everyone that helped stop the spread of the virus in the spring. But now, as cases and hospitalizations skyrocket here in Michigan, she said the second wave is hitting us hard, in that we are in the worst part of the pandemic to date. We are in the worst part of the pandemic to date. Quote, the curve that we had flattened right now is a straight line, and it is straight up. It's a straight line, and it is straight up because people are playing games with this. This ain't a joke. Governor Gretchen Whitmer noted the more than 200,000 cases currently in Michigan and the more than 100,000 cases that are popping up per day across the U.S. Okay. Now, if we look at, I'm looking at the updates from WXYZ Channel 7 here in Detroit. Michigan sets another record with new single day total of 6,940 COVID-19 cases. 6,940 COVID-19 cases. Okay, this is from Thursday, November 12th, 2020. There are 236,225 total COVID-19 cases in the state of Michigan and 7,811 total deaths in the state of Michigan that the state reported Thursday. This is in total. That's up 6,940 cases from the day before, a new record for a single day total. Additionally, 45 additional deaths were reported on Thursday. State health leaders in the state of Michigan, including the heads of Henry Ford Hospital, Beaumont Hospital, and Spectrum Health Systems, joined Thursday to sound the alarm on the surge of COVID-19 cases in the state of Michigan. Healthcare leaders urged residents to take caution, limit gatherings, and continue social distancing measures as cases and death continue to spike in recent weeks. Statewide, in just the past 26 days, in the state of Michigan, in just the past 26 days, there's been a 215% spike in COVID-19 hospitalizations because people are playing games and not taking this seriously. I'm telling you right now, restaurants are like super spreaders. Here in the state of Michigan, what Governor Gretchen Whitmer ordered in the state of Michigan for restaurants, people coming in, they have to get their name and a phone number, because if there's an outbreak of coronavirus, if somebody catches coronavirus, they want to have the names and phone numbers of people who came in around that time so they could call them for contact tracing. This is what's going on in the state of Michigan. Statewide, in just the past 26 days, there's been a 215% spike increase in COVID-19 hospitalizations, 146% increase in patients on ventilators, and 137% increase in patients in the ICU. What the hell you think is going to happen when Thanksgiving gets here? All right. So check this out. This is what's going on in Michigan. Okay. What the hell do you have to lose? The correct answer is everything. All right, let's continue. So some people want to talk about heart disease and car accidents. Heart disease is not contagious. A car accident is not contagious. This here can be controlled if just people just exhibited some common sense. So check this out from check out the updates from Washington Post. Now, when you look at the deaths, 20% of the deaths nationwide are African Americans. All right, so check this out here. We'll post the link to the updates from Washington Post as well. You can check that out. All right. So November 6th, I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And we talked about a number of different topics, but we talked about Bob Johnson, founder of BET. So Bob Johnson was on CNBC. And he was on CNBC, I think it was November 6th, or let's see, what day was that? I was on Roland's show. I think it was either November 6th or November 7th. It was last Friday. BET founder Robert Johnson says voting Democrat gives Black Americans minimal return. Okay. And Bob Johnson was talking about how, in his estimation, and I disagree with him, I think he's confused, but in his estimation, Donald Trump's policies are better for African Americans than Joe Biden's policies would be. And he said, I think Black Americans are getting a little bit tired of delivering huge votes for the Democrats and seeing minimal return in terms of economic wealth and closing the wealth gap. The job creation and job opportunities. But he goes on to talk about how Donald Trump's policies were better for African Americans, which is false. Okay, so Roland did a deconstruction of this, and then he handed it over to me. Let's go to this clip. Press play.
Again, Trump's court system. Trump has gutted civil rights all across the federal agencies. He's gutted diversity training. So, Bob, how could you come to the conclusion that 4 more years of Donald Trump would not somehow affect Black people? If Donald Trump got 4 more years, he would be able to appoint 200 more federal judges. There are only 900. He will appoint half of the federal judiciary in America. These will be people 30 to 45 years old. Bob, you don't think that has an impact on Black people? Press play.
It didn't show up in the past 4 years in terms of economic opportunity. Yeah. And so today, I don't see what the Black community has gotten over the past 8 years of Democratic leadership, or what, as I said, Joe Biden's put on the table. I've heard things like reparations. Well, I can guarantee you that there will be no reparations coming out of Joe Biden if he's elected, because it won't pass the House, it won't pass the Senate, because this country does not really believe in reparations.
Okay, see, now I'm confused. Now, this is the last point right here. I'm going to bring my panel in. I'm really confused right here. Go to my iPad for this headline. BET founder Robert Johnson calls for $14 trillion in reparations for slavery. So Robert Johnson hits Biden on reparations, but then turns right back around and says, Michael, that the votes are not there, so therefore they won't vote for reparations. So let me just get this straight. So you, Bob Johnson, have called for reparations. You're criticizing Biden because he has not embraced reparations. Yet you, Bob Johnson, then admit in the very same conversation as the votes reparations are not there. So if you're Bob Johnson, if you're Joe Biden, and the votes are not there for reparations, why would you actually include it in your plan? No, and then Bob Johnson says that America's not ready to go there. Mm-hmm. So why would Joe Biden put it in his plan if he knows the same thing that you know? What you heard there was, and again, I invited Bob to come on the show to discuss this. What you heard there is an African-American of means, mm-hmm, who doesn't have to be concerned with any of these things down here on the ground, because he's operating financially in a world where he is completely separated and sheltered from everything else.
Yep.
Bob, when you're on private planes, you're not worrying about police brutality. You're not, when you're living with multiple houses on islands, you're not actually worried about racism by TSA or flight attendants on planes. And so I take exception to so many things that he says because the data is simply not there to back it up. Michael Imhotep.
Yeah. Well, Roland, he said a lot, brother. Let's break this down very quickly here. Page 22 of Biden's plan to empower Black America, tackle systemic racism, and support a study of the continuing impacts of slavery. Okay, now Bob Johnson is partly correct when he said the votes are not there in the House and the Senate right now, because Mitch McConnell already said if he stays in the majority leader, reparations is dead on arrival in the Senate. But Donald Trump is against reparations. This is what I don't understand. Donald Trump is against reparations. Donald Trump doesn't even want to support HR 40. Okay. Then we look at African American owned businesses. Forbes.com had the article back in August dealing with how 41% of Black owned businesses have gone out of business since April of this year because of the coronavirus economy. Is probably at least 50% now. When we look at opportunity zones, you posted the article also, Roland, Trump's unsupported claim about opportunity zone investments on factcheck.org. You posted that a few weeks.
Totally unsupported.
It's not only is it totally unsupported, when you actually read this, the $100 billion that Trump is throwing around as an investment, that's over the course of through 2028. That's through the year 2028. But that's $100 billion,
and that's not even real. That's not real investment. That's what we think might happen.
And that's what we think. That's what we think might happen. Okay. And then you look at the article from October 23rd, 2020 from NBCnews.com. Trump is touting opportunity zones as a huge success with no proof. So this doesn't make sense. Now, when you read the statements that Bob Johnson made about reparations, I read them. I read them. He talked about 14 trillion, right? When you read what he says about it, he says that will mainly go back into the economy and support Black-owned businesses. Well, 97% of our dollars are spent with people that don't look like us. So what he's saying is reparations is largely going to benefit white businesses. That's what he's saying. When you go read his comments, okay? Then lastly, I'll leave it with this, brother. Bob Johnson didn't talk about the devastating impact that coronavirus has had on African Americans. When you look at just earlier, October 16, 2020, 8 million Americans slipped into poverty amid coronavirus pandemic, new study said. The majority of them were African Americans and Hispanics. When we look at the devastating impact that coronavirus has had, means of you still have about 25 million people unemployed, a lot of them African Americans, losing health insurance. 20% of the 236,000 deaths are African American. Notice how he doesn't even talk about the devastating impact that coronavirus has had on us. So he's totally out of touch. Okay, I applaud him for taking a $500,000 investment from John C. Malone. I think it was. He invested early on in BET. Okay, and building the empire. But when you get people like this, brother, and they talk about the black community, they don't live in the black community usually. So they totally.
But Niambi, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I don't think this has anything to do with reparations or policy. I think Bob Johnson is thinking with his wallet. And quite frankly, most people, black or otherwise, don't have access to the level of wealth and the level of insulation that Bob Johnson has. And I'll pick up on a bead that Michael was talking about with the coronavirus. One of the things besides the dead, we don't know what's going to happen to the long-term coronavirus injured, many of whom are black and brown people, and we don't know what their health outcomes are going to look like, much less whether they can get employed again if they are able to maintain or have employment. So I think Bob Johnson here is talking in circles. What he wants to say is, Donald Trump is good for me financially, and I like him. And this has nothing to do with other black people.
And that's it. And that's what Bob should really just say. It's good for me. It's good for me as a rich guy. It really ain't about us.
All right. Hey, pause it right there, Shakita. Pause it right there, Shakita. Pause it right there. Okay. All right. So check out that clip from. We'll post a link. Go to Roland Martin on YouTube, and that was from the November 6, 2020 show. And that clip was that was an excerpt of the entire show. That clip was uploaded November 9th, 2020. Just say Trump is good for you financially, Roland. Deconstruct Bob Johnson backing Trump, GOP. All right. And read the article from CNBC.com. They have the actual interview that Bob Johnson did. Now, one of the problems was, Bob Johnson didn't want to come have this conversation with African-American media. He was being interviewed by a white woman on CNBC who she really didn't know what she was talking about. It's a different conversation when you come have that conversation with African American media. You have that conversation with Roland. You have that conversation with me. It's going to be a different conversation. Okay, and it's not going to go like it went on CNBC. So when you have people who want to make this argument that Donald Trump is better for African Americans, you need to have that argument with African American media, not entertainment media either. Not African American entertainment media. Have it with people who understand policy, who understand history, who know what they're talking about. Because when you had that conversation with African American entertainment media, I'm not going to call any names. They're cool, but that's not the conversation to have with entertainment media either. BET founder Robert Johnson says voting Democrat gives Black Americans minimal return. Okay. When you compare Joe Biden's policies to Donald Trump's policies, Joe Biden's policies are much better for African Americans. Okay. Now, hopefully Democrats will win the 2 senatorial races in Georgia, January 5th, those special elections, those runoff races, because that's for control of the U.S. Senate. Okay. Speaking of control, not Janet Jackson, but speaking of control, NBC News and Washington Post are reporting what I already said was going to happen. Joe Biden wins Arizona. Okay. Well, November 4th, 2:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Associated Press called Arizona for Joe Biden. The state's 11 electoral college votes bring Joe Biden's lead to 290. Now, Associated Press, some outlets had already had him at 290 because they already called it for Joe Biden a week ago. All right. I told you Biden is going to win Arizona. Biden's going to end up at 306 electoral college votes, the same number of electoral college votes that Donald Trump had. I'm telling you that I've been telling you this for days. He's going to end up at 306. He's going to win Pennsylvania and he's going to win Georgia. I already told you he's going to win Arizona. All right. So the state's 11 electoral college votes bring Biden's lead to 290 to Donald Trump's little old pitiful 217, and put further pressure on Donald Trump, who has yet to concede the election. He don't have to concede. Just, pack your stuff up and call Tyrone and 2 men in the truck and Tell them come get your stuff so you can move out the White House. NBC News projected Biden the overall winner on Saturday. Arizona hasn't voted for a Democrat for president since 1996. In 2016, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in Arizona. Okay, so I told you what's going to happen. All right. I want to get to this other story. Let's see. We have the caller. We got Charles. We got Charles on the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Charles. Thanks for holding. Yeah. How you doing? Thanks for holding, man. We got a couple minutes left. Can you hear me?
Oh man, you were rolling, man.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of rolling, Brother Mike, Roland and Martin. Ain't that Roland and Martin's laughing?
That was Rowan.
Roland and Martin's laughing.
No.
Be a comedian.
No, that was Rowan. That was two people, Rowan and Martin.
Roland and Martin?
It was Rowan and Martin. It was two people. That was like from the 60s. Yeah, it was two.
Roland and Martin.
Yeah, it was, but it was Rowan. It was, I think it was W.
Laughing, wasn't it?
Yeah, laughing. I think it was ROWAN. I think that's how you spelled it. Yeah. Rowan and Martin. Yeah, it was two people. Yeah, I remember the reruns. I wasn't alive for the original.
And Martin.
Yeah.
They were laughing hosts.
Yeah, it was like a variety show.
Comedy show.
Yeah, it's like a variety show.
Laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. It used to come on. I think once a week. No, it was 5 days a week. I think it was Roland and Martin's Laughing. It's been a while back.
Right.
A couple of decades.
Right.
But my question is, I was curious about it, because I hear you mention Roland and Martin's. Roland Martin's. But it's Roland and Martin's Laughing show. And it's been a couple of decades since, as long as in a couple of decades,
Right.
But decade is 10 years, so it's been, it's been about 40 years, But it used to be one of my favorite comedy shows.
Okay.
Roland and Martin's Laughing.
Right.
Yes, sir. Hey, my question is, anyway, that kind of threw me off my question, but I probably have to.
You can call back tomorrow. Call back tomorrow, man, because we're out of time here. Yeah, we're out of time here. Yeah, we're 11 p.m. to midnight, Monday through Friday. All right, Charles. All right, thanks for calling. Okay, I want to squeeze this clip in here, and then we're going to continue on my social media platforms, the African History Network on Facebook and Michael Imhotep on YouTube. So with Wednesday being Veterans Day, we talked about World War I African-American veterans and what happened when they came back home. Another aspect of when we deal with the history of African-American veterans is the DAP handshake, okay? Now, DAP is an acronym which means dignity and power. And the DAP was created by African-American soldiers in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. Okay, I want to go to this clip here. This deals with Black GIs and the DAP. Let's go to this clip.
My whole tour in Vietnam, when you met a black soldier, he had a DAP, he had a special handshake. You got to the point where you could even tell what part of the country he was from, because everybody had their distinctive, the DAP or handshake. And you definitely could tell if he wasn't in your company, because everybody had their little nuance.
Yes, the greeting of the brother, my brother. I'm glad to see him. I don't have to know his name. Just the fact that he's black is good. We know we got a common ground. We got a common thing.
This way, then this, and high, and then the down this way like this.
Oh, yeah. Let's do this one again. I like
the way you come down, you grab.
All right. There you go. That's it.
Like in the Marine Corps, the Bloods, especially on the bases, they've been going to jail for getting doubt, the power, the handshake. This is where we greet each other. This is where we greet each other. They've been going to jail for doing it, just for doing it.
Longman Jail was the stockade in Longman, Vietnam. It was pretty much just like jails in America, 99.9% black. There was a lot of violence in this prison, a lot of stuff going on. People were angry.
All right. That was a clip from a documentary called No Sir, No Sir, and it deals with the Vietnam War. But during the Vietnam War, you had African-American soldiers who were put in the military stockade for doing the Black Power salute. Okay, the Black Power salute is going to be banned, especially in the Army, because you had white soldiers and white officers who felt threatened by it. The DAP is going to be created, and the DAP was a form of a bond. And you see brothers, you know, dapping, and they have all type of elaborate DAPs based, and they would have different types of DAPs based upon which cities they were from, etc. But it became a bond between the African-American soldiers that I'm not above you, you're not above me, you know, we're equal, but we're going to watch each other's backs, because there were numerous cases of African-American soldiers being killed on the battlefield from what was called friendly fire. Okay, from friendly fire also. So they're going to create this as well. So there's an exhibit, and there's a good article from folklife.si.edu, called 5 on the Black Hand Side. 5 on the Black Hand Side, origins and evolutions of the DAP. And 5 on the Black Hand Side is a project exploring gestural languages that were born in African-American communities during the 1960s and 1970s. Gestures, okay, including the DAP and the Black Power handshake. When we see athletes, or even President Barack Obama giving a fist bump or dap, we think of these gestures as mere greetings and are not aware of the origins and historical significance of these languages. All right, so we'll continue this on my Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. We're going to continue this discussion for a little while longer there. If you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. And we'll be back to tomorrow, and then we're on also Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All of my DVD lectures are there, and digital downloads also. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Stay tuned for Greg Davis, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow. Peace. All right, stand by, everybody. Let me disconnect this call. All right. How's everybody doing? Everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Also, you can, African-American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast. Email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network also. Okay. All right. All right, so let's continue here. All right, how's everybody doing? Okay, so when we there was one other article I was looking for, and I posted it on my personal page. I'm trying to see where to go. It dealt with the lawsuits that Trump is having his attorneys file all over the place, and they're not coming up with anything. They're not providing any evidence of widespread voter fraud or anything like that. Just like I said, they were not going to be able to provide evidence because they're lying. Okay. It was, this one here, Washington Post. In poll watcher affidavits, Donald Trump campaign offers no evidence of fraud in Detroit ballot counting in poll watcher affidavits. Donald Trump campaign offers no evidence of fraud in Detroit ballot counting. This is from November 11th, 2020. Inside Detroit's absentee ballot counting center, one Republican poll watcher complained that workers were wearing Black Lives Matter gear. She thought one of them, a quote, man of intimidating size, end quote, had followed her too closely. Another Republican poll watcher complained about the public address system. Workers were using it to make announcements. It was loud. Quote, this was very distracting to those of us trying to concentrate, end quote, he said. A third poll watcher noticed that when absentee ballots came in from military personnel, many showed votes for Democrats. He found that odd. Quote, I can estimate that at least 80% of military ballots I saw were straight ticket Democrat or simply had Joe Biden's name filled in on them, end quote, the man wrote. I had always been told that military people tended to be conservative, so this stuck out to me, end quote. He thinks something's wrong because 80% of the military ballots, they voted for Democrats, okay? And this is in Detroit, Wayne County, okay? No, see, Donald Trump called people who served in the military suckers and losers. So it was a lot of people in the military that voted for Joe Biden. Quote, on Wednesday, Donald Trump's campaign asked a federal judge, Wednesday, November 11th, Donald Trump's campaign asked a federal judge to take a drastic step, block the state of Michigan from certifying the results of its presidential election. President-elect Joe Biden now leads Donald Trump in the state of Michigan by about 148,000 votes. To back up that lawsuit, Donald Trump's campaign had promised, quote unquote, shocking evidence of misconduct. Instead, the Donald Trump campaign produced 238 pages of affidavits from Republican poll watchers across the state of Michigan containing no evidence of significant fraud, but rather allegations about ballot counting procedures that state workers have already debunked. Allegations about ballot counting procedures that state workers have already debunked. And in some cases, complaints about rude behavior or unpleasant looks from poll watchers or Democratic poll workers or Democratic poll watchers. Read this full article here from the Washington Post. Once again, they don't have anything. No evidence. They don't have anything. Okay? Donald Trump lost fair and square. And when in all these cases, Donald Trump's attorneys are under oath. When they're asked, okay, are you alleging fraud? What evidence do you have? They have to admit they're not alleging fraud. There was no fraud. There's nothing widespread. You may find a vote here or vote there. Half the time they were voting for Trump. So that was Washington Post. And then rawstory.com picked up that article because we posted that article from Raw Story as well. Rawstory.com has an article dealing with the same subject matter. Okay, we'll talk about this some more on the Thursday night show, but I wanted to let people know that as well, because you hear about these cases that Donald Trump is his attorneys are filing, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. Okay, all right. So when we look at the origins of the DAP, right? Historically, the DAP is both a symbol among African American men that expresses unity, strength, defiance, or resistance, and a complex language for communicating information. Now, the DAP and the Black Power handshake, which evolved from the DAP, were important symbols of Black consciousness, identity, and cultural unity throughout Black America. Now, the DAP originated during the late 1960s among Black GIs stationed in the Pacific during the Vietnam War, at a time when the Black Power movement was burgeoning and growing. Racial unrest was prominent in American cities, and draft reforms sent thousands of young African Americans into combat. The DAP became an important symbol of unity and survival in a racially turbulent atmosphere. Scholars on the Vietnam War and Black Vietnam vets alike note that the DAP derived from a pact African American soldiers took in order to convey their commitment to looking out for one another. It was a form of a bond that African American soldiers had with one another. Several unfortunate cases of African American soldiers reportedly being shot by white soldiers during combat served as the impetus behind this physical act of solidarity. Such events, combined with the racism and segregation faced by GIs, created a pressing need for an act and symbol of unity. Now, the DAP, which is actually an acronym, which means dignity and power, DAP. The DAP's movements translate into I'm not above you, you're not above me, we're side by side, we're together. When they're doing like this, okay, these movements, the hand gestures mean something, okay? I'm not above you, you're not above me, we're side by side, we're together. And the DAP provided just this symbol of, the DAP provided this symbol of solidarity and served as a substitute for the Black Power salute, which was prohibited by the military. Okay, so the Black Power salute was prohibited by the military, and these brothers are going to create the DAP. So this is language, the hand gestures, their language, which reminds me of the symbols of the metal netter, the hieroglyphics, what the Greeks call the hieroglyphics, the ancient pictographical writing from ancient Kemet, okay, which is and the symbols have meanings that you use them to tell a story, etc. Okay, so let's continue here. How's everybody doing? And then African American business owners, post name your business here on the thread of the broadcast. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. A lot of people want to invest in the stock market, and the Profit Room can help you with this. Now visit their website, theprofitroom.com. They are a stock market trading and education company that has mentorship programs that are designed for beginners. They teach individuals how to create generational wealth through trading and investing in the financial markets. They specialize in one-on-one mentorship and day trading, but they also teach about stocks, options, futures, and the foreign exchange markets. Visit their website, theprofitroom.com, theprofitroom.com, PROFIT, theprofitroom.com, and they have classes that they offer periodically as well. Let them know you found out about this from the African History Network. All right, let's continue here. And let me see if I can bring this up here. All right, just 1 second here. All right, so now white soldiers and commanding officers deemed the handshake a threat under the misconception that the DAP was a coded language of potential African-American insurrection. Okay. Then this reminds me kind of during slavery when there were fears of slave revolts and things like this, right? White soldiers and commanding officers deemed the DAP handshake a threat under the misconception that the DAP was a coded language of potential Black insurrection. In fact, the DAP was also a coded form of communication between soldiers that conveyed necessary information for survival, such as what to expect at the battlefront or what had transpired during an operation. Now, the DAP was banned at all levels of the military, and thus many African-American soldiers were court-martialed, jailed, and even dishonorably discharged as a punishment for dapping. Okay, you could be thrown out of the army for dapping. You could be put into the military stockade for dapping back during the Vietnam War. Conversely, later in the war, the military saw the utility of using the DAP in medical treatment of African-American combatants with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay. Now, some of us suffer from another form of PTSD. It's President Trump's stress disorder. So, I'm not only a client, I'm the president of the club. All right. PTSD, President Trump's stress disorder. Okay. So, later in the Vietnam War, the military saw the utility of using the DAP in medical treatment of African-American combatants with post-traumatic stress disorder, creating a program of DAP therapy. They created a program of DAP therapy. Now, the military would bring in African-American GIs fluent in the DAP so that they can DAP with these men to build their trust up to accept treatment from white doctors and staff. In 2013, there was a series of photographs that were put together called 5 on the Black Hand Side, that show images of African-American men performing the DAP. Okay. And this was put together by Lamont Hamilton, and he's the person who wrote this article as well. 5 on the Black Hand Side, Origins and Evolutions of the DAP. And if we turn on the screen share here, you can see the article. Okay, and they show doing the DAP also. Okay, different types of DAPs, right? 5 on the Black Hand Side, Origins and Evolutions of the DAP. So check out that full article. All right, let's continue here. Okay, so in 2013, Lamont Hamilton began a series of photographs called 5 on the Black Hand Side that show images of African-American men performing the DAP. He said that these, he makes these through identifying particular communities of men of different cultures and ages who participate in the culture of the DAP, interviewing them and photographing their handshakes. Through the research, he said he already conducted with through the research he has already conducted with these individuals, he learned that there is a tremendous diversity of DAPs evolving from the dramatically different movements and meanings of each military company. At the Smithsonian Institute, he began researching oral and visual histories of the Bloods, which were the African-American soldiers of Vietnam, who coined the term DAP. At the he started researching this at the Soul Soldiers Exhibition Archives, curated by Samuel L. Black of the Heinz, H-I-N-Z, Heinz History Center. the National Museum of African American History and Culture, and the Center for Folk Life and Cultural Heritage. He said that he had been using the Smithsonian's archives at the African Art Museum, the Hirshhorn, and the National Museum of American History to look for the evolution of the DAP in songs, artwork, films, literature, and posters to understand how it and other gestures of African American solidarity disseminated in popular culture. Okay. He says he will continue to interview African American Vietnam veterans, former gang members, and others and photograph their handshakes to construct further images for this series called this exhibit called 5 on the Black Hand Side. Now, 5 on the Black Hand Side was also a movie from 1973 as well. Many of you all have seen that movie before. I've seen it before also, 5 on the Black Hand Side. But this is a very interesting history dealing with the DAP, okay, and how it comes out of how they are using it to communicate messages, but how it comes out of a context of war in African Americans, because you had African American soldiers who were shot by white soldiers, and many times it's claimed to be friendly fire or something like this. They are creating these symbols in this language to show a bond between one another during wartime. All right. All right. How's everybody doing? Okay, so check out this article, 5 on the Black Hand Side, Origins and Evolutions of the DAP. Also, blackden.com has an article dealing with this as well at blackden.com. There was one other article I wanted to get to, dealing with the fallout from the election and Donald Trump not conceding and things like this, and was specifically allegations of fraud. So the information came out today from the Department of Homeland Security. USAtoday.com has an article, Election Security Officials, No Evidence Voting Systems Compromised. Election Security Officials, No Evidence Voting Systems Compromised. Also, Washington Post has this article as well. WashingtonPost.com. I saw it there right before we started the show. Let me see. Let me see, where is that? We'll pull this up here. Election. But I posted this from USA Today on my personal page. We'll share the link here also. As Donald Trump continued to pursue unsubstantiated claims of voting fraud in multiple states Thursday, a national coalition of election security officials described last week's general election as, quote, the most secure in American history, end quote. The most secure in American history. Okay. And let's see if we can pull this up here also from Washington Post. But it's the most secure in American history. The security group, including the Department of Homeland Security's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency and the National Association of State Election Directors, issued what appeared to be a definitive coda to the 2020 vote. Quote, there is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised, end quote, the coalition concluded. All of the states with close results in the 2020 presidential race have paper records of each vote, allowing the ability to go back and count each ballot if necessary. This is an added benefit for security and resilience. This process allows for the identification and correction of any mistakes or errors, end quote. So this statement comes as the Trump campaign pursues active election challenges in Pennsylvania and Michigan, while recounts loomed in Georgia and Wisconsin. Quote, while we know there are many unfounded claims and opportunities for misinformation about the process of our elections, we can assure you we have the utmost confidence in the security and integrity of our elections, and you should too, the group concluded, which includes the Homeland Security's cybersecurity division. Okay. So, quote, when you have the question, let's see, we can assure you that we have the utmost confidence in the security and integrity of our elections, and you should too. End quote, the group concluded. They went on to say, when you have questions, turn to election officials as trusted voices as they administer elections, end quote. All right, check out the rest of this article here. We'll post the link here for that. And then Washington Post had a early article earlier today. Analysis: Trump lawyers suffer embarrassing rebukes from judges over voter fraud claims. This is by Aaron Blake for the Washington Post. Trump lawyers suffer embarrassing rebukes from judges over voter fraud claims. Well, the reason why it's an embarrassing rebuke is because the voter fraud they're alleging doesn't exist. This is the problem. They're lying, but they know there's no voter fraud. They're doing this to appease Donald Trump. That's what this is about. Let's post this one here from the USA Today. Okay, so everybody check that one out. All right, hey, if you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, and at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. So that definitely helps support us, since we're here 6 days a week now instead of 1 day a week. I was just doing Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., but we're doing Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight. And still on Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. So this helps us keep broadcasting, finance the show, keep doing the research, stay on the air, etc. All right. What was that one? Okay. All right. African American business owners, email us at customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network also. And if you if you're looking at repairing your credit, you're looking at getting your credit in order. If you're looking to buy a car, you want to repair your credit, you want to build a higher FICO score, Mario Stevens can help you with that. Text the words "I'm ready now, Mario" to 419-975-6341. 419-975-6341. Be one of the first 10 people to text "I'm ready now, Mario" to 419-975-6341. And you'll get a call back, and you will be able to get started for free. And you'll be able to get started for free dealing with credit repair. Everyone after the 10th caller will be eligible for a scholarship of up to 50% off. Regular sign-up fees for the next 25 people. Once again, text the words "I'm ready now, Mario" to 419-975-6341. All right. Okay. Hey, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll be back tomorrow night. And all these shows are in audio podcast format also. So wherever you get your audio podcast from, search for the African History Network show. And we're on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Acast, FM Player. So also when you advertise with us, your audio commercial, because we'll create a video commercial for you that re-airs when we rebroadcast these shows on our social media platforms. And then we'll create an audio commercial that'll air in the audio podcast also of these shows. Okay. All right. Remember, the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behaviors, not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow.